Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to 31 Days of Tarot. This is a really amazing experience doing this alongside of you guys. I am really enjoying the heck out of this. I love this series. Ethany puts it out every year. I think this is the 4th year in a row that she has done this. I will link her video or her channel down below for you so that you can check out sort of the origin of it all. And I hope you will check out other people making videos for this series because it is a lot of fun. It's a great way to get to know other people in this little tarot YouTube community and see the people that you click with. If you are new to my channel and you enjoy this, please remember to thumbs up and definitely subscribe because I would love to have you as a part of my supportive tarot family. I really enjoy making videos on tarot, witchcraft, magic, self-worth, all of that juicy stuff, and I'm really happy to have you here. So without further ado, let's get on with day 10 and talk about decks I want to get to know better in 2019. So this was an actually really easy prompt for me because, as some of you may know, I am doing a depth year this year, which means I am diving deeper into my current collection. And there are 4 decks specifically that I have set aside that I intend to study for a quarter of the year. So 1 deck per quarter, there are 4 decks. So I'm going to share those 4 with you and kind of why I want to dive deeper into them. So I'm going to talk about them in roughly in order, maybe not, we'll see if I remember the order, but from January to March, I'm going to be working with Benebell Wen's Spirit Keeper Tarot. So if you haven't seen this deck before, this is a self-published deck by Benebell Wen. It is beautifully produced. The cardstock is amazing. The thought and care and symbology and effort that she put into this deck is out of this world. Some of the things that set it apart, there are 3 significator cards. They are all key zeros, so typically that would be the Fool, but we have the Seeker, the Keeper, and the Initiate, all represented based on how you're using the deck. It's beautifully gilded with this like mirror shine finish. I have worked with this deck as just a standard pull a card for the day, do a reading, all that kind of stuff. And I do talk about that because whenever I work with whatever decks I've worked with, I do a weekly deck review. I will link the deck review that I did, the weekly deck review that featured this deck, because I worked with this right at the end of December. And I did it without reading or studying, just how did it work as a regular old tarot deck, because as some of you may know, there's a lot of layers that you could work with this particular deck. But I'll show you some of the images. It's all black and white. It was all hand drawn in pen and ink by Benebell. And sorry, I know I'm covering some of the text. I got to get better about that. But I have to say, and you can hear my more sort of detailed thoughts on this in that deck review video, but I have to say that this was an excellent reader for me. This was really easy to read with. The cards are very clear. You know exactly what you're looking at when you're looking at the card. At least for me, I don't have any issues whatsoever. The biggest thing that sets them apart is the quartz. We have archangels for kings. We have strongholds for pages. We have shining ones for the knights. And shields, so that's a shining one. And shields for the queens. See if I can find a shield for you. Ah, there's a shield. So those are the queens. They look really fierce in this deck, which I really like, actually, because the queens have a lot to offer, and I think sometimes they're a little bit underrepresented. Let's see if I can find a stronghold to show you so you see what the pages kind of look like. Really? Am I going to find any of them in here? Pages are hiding. The pages are hiding. Come on. Strongholds, where are you? There we go. Stronghold of the Grail. So this is the Page of Cups. And they all have the little envelopes on them too, which is kind of cool. So yes, this is the deck I'll be studying from January to March. And the reason that I wanted to spend 3 full months with this deck is because, for starters, I really like to read guidebooks cover to cover for every single deck I own. And the guidebook for this deck is substantial. So this is the book of maps. This you can get, when you ordered the deck, you got a digital copy of this book, but I ordered it, I had it printed up, hard copy. It's already seen a good amount of wear because it's been kicking around with me as I've been coloring in it, which is something else Benebell talks about. I'll show you one of my colored pages just for fun. Let's see, here's my Archangel of Healing colored in. So coloring is also something I plan to do a lot of from January to March in this book because A, I enjoy coloring. so fun. But also my experience so far with coloring cards in the Book of Maps is that it has helped me to get to know that card very, very well. The symbology of that card, what every single thing on the card is, that's been really helpful. And whether you do it in the Book of Maps specifically or you pick up a tarot coloring book, there are several that represent the entire deck. I think that's a really good exercise because it makes you intimately familiar with every single detail of that card because, of course, you're filling it all in with color. So you notice everything through that process. And so that's kind of exciting. I'll be definitely doing more. I don't know if I'll get the whole 78 colored in 3 months. I guess we will see. But I think that's probably pretty ambitious. But you never know. At least I'll get a lot colored in, I hope. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be January to March. And I forget my exact timeline for the other 3 decks. This one I remember because it's coming up first. But the other decks that I'm going to be studying is the Wildwood Tarot. I didn't bring over the other guidebooks because they're normal size and not super thick. So the Wildwood Tarot is the other deck that I really want to study in 2019. This is a beautiful deck. I have trimmed my copy. I have also edged my copy in a really deep hunter green. It's just beautiful. I want to be able to read with this deck, and I actually showed this deck in a dust collectors video that I did with Jess as a collab over at Stellar Tarot, and I will link that video in the cards or in the description box down below. I was really close to just rehoming this deck, and I realized even while making that video that I don't want to do that. I want this to be a good reader for me, but I get stuck here in the courts with these animals, and I want to do better, but I haven't taken the time to read the guidebook. The courts trip me up because they're animals, and the majors trip me up because they've been changed a bit. And the structure of this deck is very cool because it's meant to align with the Wheel of the Year. This was a reimagining, as I understand it, of the Greenwood Tarot, which is an out-of-print deck that may come back into print for a small self-published run. I'm not sure. But that deck was also fashioned around the Wheel of the Year. This is different, but it has a similar structure. And one of the the author is the same, the artist is different. So this art is done, why am I blanking? Same as the Druidcraft Tarot. I know his name and I'm totally having a brain. One of those. But this is beautiful. I really just want to study it and know it so that I can see what it can offer me, because I think as long as once I know the structure and I know the quartz well, I have a feeling this is going to be a really good reader for me. So I am excited. I love the earthiness of it, the nature-basedness of it. So yeah, really excited to learn that one more. I am also going to be working with my Mythic Tarot. So I got secondhand, and it's not in the greatest of shape at all, but I got secondhand the original OG Mythic Tarot. I did not like the new Mythic artwork at all. I kind of hated it. Like, I had a pretty strong reaction to it, and after I got the new Mythic, I immediately went hunting for this one. These cards are very well worn in, and I do think I'm going to be trimming them right down. So everything off but the image. I watched a video by Nina at Shuffle Tarot. She had trimmed her copy and it looked stunning, and it kind of gave me permission to do the same with mine. So when I hit my study period with this deck, which is going to be for 3 months this year, I'm going to be trimming my copy for sure. The main reason I want to study this one is because each of the major arcana is part of a Greek myth, associated with Greek myth. And then the minor arcana, each suit is associated with a specific myth. And I really want to learn and study those myths so that I can get the most out of this deck. It's perfectly readable right out of the box just by looking at the cards and reading it Rider-Waite-Smith style. There's no problem with reading it, but I have a lot of decks I could do that with. I want to read this through the lens of Greek myth, which means I really need to read the guidebook all the way through, study it, get familiar with it. So that's what I'll be doing with that one. And the last one that I really want to study, I did cover 3, yeah. The last one that I really want to study is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. So these are the backings. I think this is the second edition. I think the first edition came out, had just plain black backings. This is by Raven Phelan. It is beautiful. I do use this deck already. I use it for self-readings because I find that the guidebook is extremely healing and nurturing, but the guidebook is also very meaty. There's also quite a bit of changes here as well. So there's some changes in the quartz. There's also some changes through the majors. But a lot of the minors are pretty Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just that there's enough changes in here and uniqueness that I really want to get more familiar with it, cozier with it, and be able to pull it out at any time and read without the guidebook. Because right now, as much as I adore the guidebook and I love the way it's written and I think it has so much to offer, I am reliant on it, and I don't like decks where I have to rely on the guidebook too much, particularly when it comes to tarot. And some people call this a tarot oracle deck because they say it's like more of a cross between tarot and oracle. But to me, all the structure is there. You have the majors. Yes, they've been redesigned a bit, but the major arcana are there, and those archetypes are represented in a fashion in this deck. And you have the minors and you have the courts. So to me, this is still a tarot deck. I just want to get more familiar with it. And I love this artwork. I love, love, love the artwork. And I just can't read it as intuitively as I want to be able to read it. So definitely that one I will be studying as well in 2019. So these are the 4 decks that I want to get to know better in 2019. So thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you like my video, this video, whatever, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you like this content, please remember to subscribe, and you can see all the rest of my 31 days of tarot videos. But that is it for today, and I will see you all again in tomorrow's video. Take care. Bye, y'all.